Hey, what's up, family? It is your favorite uncle cousin, Tyrone Gregory, the self-employed tax guy, back at it again. But today's video, I am going to be talking about the all new 1040. 2019 is just a couple of days away. And speaking of, man, if I don't hear from you or speak to you between now and next year, let me wish you, your family, your business a very prosperous new year. 2019 should be the year to break in the dough. Okay. That is what I want you to do in 2019. But, I just want to come to you today real quick. I don't want to be before you long. I just want to talk about this new 1040, right? So as some of you may know or may not have known, back in September of 2017, there was this big talk about tax reform and how we're going to be able to file our taxes on a postcard and things like that. And then in December, the president signed the new tax reform bill, right? The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. Well, not surprisingly, they actually kept their promise. We now have a new 1040, and it's not quite postcard size. I'm going to show it to you here in a second, but it is definitely not quite the postcard size. And there are a few things I want you to be aware of. And the first thing is to be aware of this. If you file using software, or if you file using a tax preparer or something like that, you really should not see any differences. You really should not see any type of noticeable difference or changes in what you file. You'll still be able to put the same information and get hopefully the same exact results. Now, for those of you who are the DIY and you really like to be hands-on and you want to see the changes and how it's going to affect you, that's what this video really is. Just so you can be aware of the new 1040. Nothing will throw you off guard. Nothing will shock you because your uncle cousin is bringing it to you right now. So let's go ahead and take a look at the new 1040. All right, so here we are, the new 1040 for 2018. This is the one that is going to be used to file your tax return starting January 1st, 2019. And that doesn't mean that you'll be able to file January 1st. As a matter of fact, as the recording of this video, we have no idea when the IRS is going to be opening for e-file. So definitely keep that in mind, as there may be a delay as to when you can file your tax return. But in any case, here it is, the new 1040. Let's take a look at it. And this is what I mean by not so quite postcard size, because this is it. And you can see it cuts off from the page here at the bottom, and it picks up again, or page 2 of the 1040 is here and cuts off here at the bottom. So, it's not quite a full page size, but it's not postcard size either. All right. So that's it. A full view. Let me scroll back up here to the top so you can see. Here it is. Let me see if I can maybe reduce that. Make it smaller. Zoom out a little bit. There we are. So maybe we can see it in its entirety. So that's it. That's the first page of the 1040. In all its glory, please bask in it. And here it is, the second page of the 1040. In all its glory. Go ahead and bask in it. Yes, that is it. So the first thing I want to bring to your attention with the new design of this 1040 is, if you notice, we have 22 lines total. All right. There's not even lines here, but from the second page, 1 through 22, that is a significant difference, because on the old 1040, we had 78 lines. All right. 78 lines, now down to 22. That's the first thing that really caught my attention. For those of you who looked at the actual form, I'm really not sure any of you really actually looked at the actual form. We'll notice some very subtle difference here, like the filing statuses are now here at the top. There's still 5 of them, that much hasn't changed. What has changed is the standard deduction information that used to be on page 2 is now here right up under your name where you enter your name and information. The same for your spouse. That information is there. And what else is a noticeable change is the healthcare coverage exemption checkbox. I can't even talk. Checkbox is here on page 1 as opposed to page 2. So that is definitely a significant difference. Yes, I know they talked about removing the Affordable Care Act, but remember, this is still the year. You will still have to be responsible to pay it and still have that penalty. So keep that in mind there. The dependent information is still there. And a big noticeable difference is the fact that you will sign your return on the front page now as opposed to the second page. So that is one thing I noticed there. Oh, so let's talk about what's on page 2. So here's where things get interesting. Here is the concept or the idea that they were going to make tax preparation more simplified. All right. But I'm not sure if that's actually true because, even though they reduced it from 78 lines or 76 lines down to 22, there's still some things that we're going to have to do. Notice in this first section, lines 1 through 7, that's where we report our income. On line 1, we have the wages, like our W-2 wages will go there. That's pretty much the same. The interest, dividends, your pensions, annuities, Social Security, and then you total it. Right? So here we have wages, interest, dividends, your pensions and annuity, and your Social Security. Where's the self-employment? Where are we as the self-employed going to report our income? Now, don't get excited. That does not mean that as self-employed income, that's tax-free. Nope, that's not what they mean. They just moved it somewhere else, and we'll get to that. And once we go from 7 on down, the standard deduction, that's there, or itemizing, that's information. And here is our favorite of the year, line 9, the qualified business income deduction. You know that 20% deduction that everybody's getting excited about? Well, that's where it's going to be reported right there. So we can see whatever that credit amount, it is going to reduce our taxable income. It is not going to do anything else but reduce it because it's going to be added in the equation of figuring our taxable income. We can see there from line 10. So, and everything else is pretty much, straightforward there. But what I wanted to do in this video is really kind of have you understand, now that this change has been made, how are we going to report our income, our expenses, our self-employment taxes? And if we made quarterly estimated payments, where's that going to go? The idea, again, is to always know. My goal is your favorite uncle cousin as the self-employed tax guy is to make sure that you are constantly aware. So even if you're not filing your tax return, you should be able to look at the tax return and make sure that everything is where it is supposed to be. That is the goal of this review. So let's go ahead and do this here. The first thing, now I can say the first thing a lot. What I want to do is look at the instructions for the 1040 in 2018. And you can see here, this booklet is a whopping 117 pages long. Really good read. I mean, if you're the type to like to read this type of stuff, I mean, it's a really good read. 117 pages, not bad. Full of great information. First thing here, when we look at the instructions, I always like to look at what's new. All right, so I go to page 6. Then from there, I'll look at the filing requirements to see what they are. And then you can go by line instruction. But look at this section here. We have new schedules to fill out. So like I said, when they say they simplified it, not really. Because even though they took away a lot of stuff, they now have given us 6 additional schedules to worry about on top of the schedules that still exist: the Schedule A, the Schedule B, the Schedule C, the Schedule D, the Schedule E and F. Those schedules still exist. We now just have 6 additional schedules, the numerical schedules that we have to worry about now. So definitely good information. And you can see up here at the top, I have them all. I'm going through them all, or at least the ones that pertain to us as self-employed. So let's start with the what's new. Okay. No, I don't think this is the page I really wanted to go for. I want to show you. Let me scroll all the way back up here real quick. This page here. Notice everyone files the new Form 1040. Prior to this redesign, remember, we had the 1040EZ, we had the 1040A, and then we had the 1040. Now, the 1040EZ and the 1040A has been eliminated. They no longer exist. Everyone is going to file the new Form 1040. And based on what you need, as you can see, you'll use the base Form 1040, and then you'll have to choose the schedules that are right for you. That is one of the biggest things that I really wanted to point out here, is the fact that everybody is going to use the same form across the board, no matter your tax situation. The only thing that is changing, you may or may not need certain schedules, at least the numerical schedules, and we'll see here. Also, on this here, in the instructions, we'll see this. A very useful guide. It's like a if this, then that kind of thing, right? Because if you fall under this category here, then you are going to use these schedules here. All right. And that's right there in the instructions. It's available for download. I'll make sure I put the link to the PDF instructions under this video so you can download it, kind of familiarize yourself and get used to it. But there it is. All right. So I am going to get back to the 1040. My goal is for us as self-employed individuals, understand how the new 1040 is going to flow for us. Okay. So right now, let's go ahead and get into the flow of the new 1040, beginning with the income and expenses. So this is how it flows when it comes to our income and expenses. You still have the Schedule C. Then from the Schedule C, it's going to flow to the Schedule 1. And from the Schedule 1, it is then going to go on the new 1040, line 6 and 7. And I'll explain line 6 and 7 in a second here. So let's look at the new 1040. Well, let's look at so we know the Schedule C hasn't changed. So I'm not going to show you the Schedule C. The Schedule C is still the same. What I want to show you is the Schedule 1. And here it is, the Schedule 1, the additional income and adjustments. So remember, on the regular 1040, let me click on it here, there was no line in our income section to add the business income. However, it does say right here on line 6, add the lines 1 through 5 and any additional amount from Schedule 1. Well, when we look at the Schedule 1, here on line 12, this one right here, this is now where the income and expenses, or the information from the Schedule C, is going to flow, not directly to the 1040, but it is going to go to Schedule 1 first, line 12. And then we'll accumulate anything else that we've added there, put it here on line 22, which will then transfer to the 1040, line 6. Now, remember I said line 6 and or 7. And the reason I say that is because line 6 is the total. If there's any adjustments, we're going to add it up again between line 22 and 36. And then the final total amount is going to be reported on line 7. So again, just to recap, we'll do everything on the Schedule C as we've already previously been doing, but it is now going to go to Schedule 1, line 12, and then the total with any other additional income, that will be totaled on line 22, and then that will be transferred to the 1040, page 2, line 6 and 7. All right. So that is how the income and expenses from our self-employment activities is going to flow through to the new 1040. All right. So now let's look at how things are going to go through to when it comes to reporting our self-employment taxes. As we can see here, we still have to report self-employment tax. Like I said, I hope we didn't get too excited because it wasn't a line there. We still have to report it. Everything now is going to go on a Schedule SE, same as it was before, except for now, once we've totaled it on the Schedule SC, we're going to report it on Schedule 4. And from Schedule 4 is going to go to the new 1040, line 14. Let me show you. All right, so here it is, the new Schedule 4. And just real quick, while I'm on the schedules, don't be intimidated or don't think that it's going to be that much difficult, because a lot of these schedules are very short pages. You can see the Schedule 4 is not long at all, and that's a lot of the schedules are that way. So still a lot, even though it is not as simplified as they want it to be, it's still not as complicated either. So, but anyway, here we are. This is where, again, we start with our Schedule SE, which is our self-employment tax, the form we use to determine that amount. And then it goes here on Schedule 4, right there, other taxes, right at the top, line 57, self-employment tax. Attach your Schedule SE, put that amount here on box 57. Of course, it totals down here on line 64, and we bring that over to the 1040, line 14 here, where it says other taxes. Okay, so that's how that is going to flow. Very simple. Again, just to recap it, we start with the Schedule SE, figure out our taxes, carry that amount over to Schedule 4, put it on line 57, total it up with everything else, goes on line 64. Then from there, we bring it over here to the 1040 and put it on line 14. Okay. And another thing, now this is a two-part section. So this is part 1. You first figure it, the taxes, and do everything that I just showed you. But remember, when you're self-employed and you pay self-employment taxes, you get to deduct half of that as an adjustment. Well, this is how that's going to flow. So this is the part 2 of the self-employment taxes. Notice we still are going to fill out the same Schedule SE, but then the adjustment part, the credit for half of self-employment taxes, is going to go on Schedule 1. Okay. And then from Schedule 1, it's going to flow to line 6 or 7. So let's take a look at that. All right. So here we are at Schedule 1, back at Schedule 1. Notice we had the additional income here at the top. Well, at the bottom of Schedule 1, here are the adjustments. And just as before, line 27, the deductible part of self-employment tax is going to go here. So we still figure out the Schedule SE, but the Schedule SC, the results are going to go to 2 different forms. The tax is going to go to Schedule 4. The adjustment goes back here on Schedule 1 as an adjustment to income. It gets added to all the other adjustments here on line 36, and then finally is going to go over to the 1040, line 7. As we can see, like I said, if you have no adjustments to income into the amount, otherwise, we're going to do some math, subtract Schedule 1, line 36 from line 6, as it's telling us here. Subtract that from that, and then we will end up with our total, what is called adjusted gross income. So again, recapping, when it comes to self-employment taxes and paying your self-employment taxes, still fill out the Schedule SE. The taxable portion goes on Schedule 4 and then gets added to the 1040, right? The adjustment is going to get added to Schedule 1 and then transfer over to the 1040. All right. So real simple. Everything is pretty much still the same. We now just have a couple of extra steps, so to speak. Outside of that, everything else should remain the same for us. And the last thing I want to share with you here is the quarterly estimated payments. So let's take a look at those. So here's the flow for the quarterly estimated payments. And again, if you paid it, this is how this would work. This will say if paid, the quarterly estimated payments is going to be reported on Schedule 5 and then reported to the 1040 line 17. That's how that is going to flow. So let's go ahead and look at that Schedule 5 here. And here we are, Schedule 5. This is where other payments and your refundable credits will be entered in here. And here we are on line 66, right here, line 66, the 2018 estimated tax payment. That is where if you paid your quarterly estimated taxes, that's where you're going to report it. There is no form per se when it comes to your quarterly estimated payments. You just have to keep your receipts, your vouchers that you paid it, total up what you paid at the end of the year, report that amount on line 66, put all of the refundable credits, if any of these apply to you, on line 75, and that will come over here to the 1040 line 17. Okay. And that is how that works. Again, if you paid the quarterly estimated taxes, it goes first on Schedule 5, and then from Schedule 5 to the 1040 line 17. So, and okay, and there you have it. That is how the new 1040 is going to flow for us as self-employed. Now, just to kind of get a real good recap of it, here's the 1040 in all its glory again. Simple 2 pages, not quite so postcard size there, but Schedule 1 is where we report all of the additional income and adjustments. Schedule 2 is if we have any additional tax that really needs to be reported. Like for a lot of us, it would probably be the advanced premium tax credit for the health care. That goes there. Schedule 3 is where our non-refundable credits, which is the daycare credits, education credits, the retirement saving credits, credits for the residential energy goes on line 3. Schedule 3. Schedule 4 is where we report our self-employment taxes and any other taxes, additional taxes, so to speak, that we need to report. Schedule 5 is our payments and refundable credits. This is where our quarterly estimated payments go here. And Schedule 6, which is an optional schedule, but if you ever decided to let somebody else represent you before the IRS, or not represent you, but can call the IRS on your behalf and speak on your behalf, you would fill out this giving that person permission to be able to speak on your behalf, not represent you, but they'd be able to speak on your behalf to the IRS to get information to help you out. That's where you would fill out that there. Okay. Well, alrighty, family, there you have it. Again, that was just real quick, real simple. Wanted to take you through and introduce you to the new 1040 so you can see what to expect, how things flow. So like I said, in case you are that DIY individual, you now know what to expect, what schedules to use, how to report it on the 1040. And even if you're not a DIY, it's still good to know so you can always review and look and make sure that things were done right. It's always good to trust your preparer. It's always good to trust the software, but trust but verify. Just make sure that everything is good. And that's it. Again, I didn't want to be before you long. I really just wanted to get that information to you, man. I appreciate you watching the video. If you haven't already, make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Make sure that you also hit that bell, I do believe, so you'll get notifications. As in 2019, your Uncle Cousin has a lot of great things coming your way. A lot of good things planned for us to make sure that we develop and grow strongly in 2019. So I appreciate you. You know I love you. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.